A note before we begin. Before anything else, it helps to name what this text is and what kind of landscape it moves through. My name is Pedro, and I am the founder of the Ghosts movement. I did not set out to create a philosophy, a system, or a set of teachings. What follows did not arrive as a plan. It emerged slowly over years of lived experience, through ordinary days and difficult seasons, through silence and sorrow, through love, through collapse and return, through moments when something beneath the surface kept asking to be noticed. The Ghosts movement is not a method. It is not a belief structure. It does not ask you to follow anything or change yourself. It is a way of naming what is already happening within and around you. At its heart, the Ghosts movement describes a universe of lived experience, not as an abstract theory, but as an architecture you have already been moving through your entire life. At the center of this universe is what I call the dot. The dot is the quiet origin within you, the still point beneath story, beneath memory, beneath identity. It is the part of you that has remained unchanged through every version of your life, the awareness that has watched everything come and go. Around the dot sit 4 pillars. These pillars describe how a human life is lived. The first pillar is memory, not as recollection, but as presence. Memory as the way past experience continues to live in the body, in gesture, in reaction, in rhythm, in relationship. The second pillar is presence, not as calm or stillness, but as the capacity to remain with yourself in the middle of ordinary life, including noise, strain, interruption, and overwhelm. The third pillar is light and dark, not as opposites, but as partners. Light revealing what lifts and opens, dark revealing what weighs and deepens. Together, they give experience its shape. The fourth pillar is love, not as sentiment or romance, but as recognition. Love as what remains when everything else falls away. Love as the force that reveals what matters and who matters. Beneath these pillars sits the codex. The codex names what does not move. It speaks through 4 axes: the unformed, the finite, the broken, and the lost. These are not diagnoses or judgments. They are conditions that shape a life before language is available. The deeper structures formed by what was never given shape, what inevitably ends, what fractured under weight, and what disappeared but still leaves a trace. Beyond the pillars and the codex is the realm. The realm describes moments when awareness widens beyond its usual borders. Threshold states where the self softens, where time loosens, where experience feels larger than identity. The realm appears in many forms: in intimacy, in shock, in awe, in dreaming, in illness, in birth, in loss, in altered states, and in moments when life stretches a person beyond their familiar shape. And at the furthest horizon of this universe is the pull. It is the quiet leaning of a life, the sense that something is unfolding even when it cannot be named, the direction beneath choice, beneath story, beneath understanding. The pull is what gives a life its orientation without offering explanation. This text moves through these layers in the way life does, not as steps, not as a progression, but as movements that interweave. It begins with the origin of this work in my own life, not because my story is the point, but because this language emerged from lived experience rather than theory. From there it moves through the dot, the pillars, the codex, the realm, and finally the pull, allowing each layer to reveal itself in relation to the others. What follows is not a lecture. It is not self-help. It does not offer techniques, improvements, or advice. It names an architecture that may already feel familiar. My role here is not to guide you, but to speak honestly from lived experience and from the structure that formed through years of noticing what kept returning. Some parts may resonate deeply, some may feel strangely familiar, some may stir memory, sensation, or quiet recognition. Others may pass without landing. There is no urgency here, no requirement to understand everything at once. You can move slowly, you can pause, you can return later. The Ghosts movement does not ask for comprehension, it asks only to be met as it is. This text is not something you must accept in full. It is something you notice over time, in your own way. If something touches you, it can be allowed to touch you. If something does not land, it can be allowed to pass. You are not meant to hold every word. What follows is not a journey into something new. It is a return to something that has always been here. This is the doorway.